PJNet.TV. It is 9 p.m. on the eastern coast of the United States. It is time for part one, and we have a bumper rolling. We have a background ready. We have titles for book covers ready. We have a chat room waiting. We have our guest waiting. Let's switch to Studio 8 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, welcome to PJNet.TV, and I can honestly say I'm glad to be here. Folks, it has been a very tough 24 hours, and it's still a little tough, but the fact that we can just have this conversation is great. Now, throughout the evening, you are going to hear little sounds. You hear that? I had to go under my house and rescue 3 little kittens that I don't know if they were abandoned by their mother or what. But add that to the list of interesting things here at the PJNet Eagles Nest. But anyway, let's get down to work. Molly Jo Realy is standing by with us, and we'd like to introduce her for the first time here on PJNet.TV. Molly Jo, I'm so glad you're here, and I must say, Molly Jo, I'm not a cat lover. There's cats in my presence, but I understand there's also cats in yours. So
yes,
you want to go ahead and just introduce them, or do they do that on their own right in the middle of things?
They will come around when they're ready. Just before we went live, I had one up here and one over here, and then they must have heard and they scampered off, but I'm sure they'll come and make their appearance. So I've always been a cat lover.
That's what I love about cats. They are so obedient. And
well, I'm just very grateful that they let me live in their space and shelter them.
Oh, yeah. It truly is your privilege and honor as they see it.
Absolutely.
Molly Jo, it's been kind of helter skelter, but we've managed to put it together. I took a look at your bio, and I the most fascinating thing I found, maybe it's just me, but you started this book, and it's called the Cookbook for the Unemployed. Is that
the Unemployment Cookbook?
The Unemployment. Tell me what in the heck that captivated my imagination. Is this a bunch of recipes for low cost play?
Yeah,
Is
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I was a single mom, and my daughter, I think she was in either junior high or 9th grade, first year of high school. And she wanted to have some friends over, and I was unemployed at the time, and I didn't have the heart to tell her that we can't afford to feed other people. So we just prayed over the kitchen, and I threw some stuff in the crock pot. And that night we had a friend over. Oh, it was good. When I dropped my daughter Hannah off at school the next day, one of the moms, or her friend's mom, caught me and said, my daughter came home. I have to have this recipe. She wouldn't stop talking about it. So I tweaked it a little bit, and I made it again a little differently. It was just really simple. It was pork chops with sauerkraut and potatoes and a cream of mushroom soup just layered on top of each other in the slow cooker. Mm-hmm. And that was it. My daughter's favorite recipe. She fell in love with it. We've modified it a couple of different ways. And from that, the idea to curate a bunch of inexpensive recipes that she could then have and pass down when she's older and has children. It was born. I started curating recipes with my mom, and that was a fun adventure to go through old recipes from my cousins, my aunts, my grandmothers. And it was about 8 months into this project. My brother is a graphic designer. He does professional work for catalogs and merchandising businesses, so he got on board to design it. And we were just praying about it the whole time. And then I just knew I couldn't find a name for it. Cheap recipes. Well, that's what it is, but it doesn't. And I thought, I need something that's going to say what it is. And I just remember going to an event with one of my friends, and I looked at her, and without saying anything, I just said, Unemployment Cookbook. And she just gasped, and she said, that's it. And we knew we had it. So, and I formed my own publishing company to print it, to keep the costs low, and to make it more manageable. And while I've run out of print copies, I haven't ordered any in inventory for a few years. I still have it available on Amazon. And it, to this day, 7, 8 years later, it still is being purchased every single day. And that heartens me to know that so many people are looking for something that are feeding their families. The recipes are changeable. They're something that anybody can pick up and shift the ingredients or change the size of and modify it to fit their taste, their wallet, and their family size.
I'm seeing in the chat room, broke food.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Well, I never wrote a book on it, but I have experienced, financial strain. So we planned out our week. On Monday, we would have beans. And on Tuesday, we would have rice. And on Wednesday, we'd have beans and rice. And then on Thursday, we'd have leftovers, and so we'd kind of start over, so you didn't need much to go. But it was your own inspiration just to publish the book on your own, and it turns out people actually bought it.
Yeah, I'm still amazed at it. I thought it was sort of like a little vanity project, and I just wanted to put this together and put it out there. But the reception I've had from it, like I said, it's gone through 2 editions. The first edition was nice, had a few typos in there. The second edition, we added 50 recipes and changed teaspoon to tablespoon where it mattered. So there wasn't
There's
too
a difference?
often, but so I'm told. It was, just to see and hear the testimonies of people saying, I was praying so much for something that I could really feed my family. A lot of people don't want to follow a strict recipe, or they can't afford. If you're feeding a family of 6 or more, you can't always afford the really big recipes, and you don't want to eat the same things over and over. So my cookbook gives them the opportunity to take a base recipe and change it up. Mm-hmm. And I love hearing how different people have done that. And I've received comments and emails of, I tried this recipe, but I did it this way, I did it that way. Things that even I hadn't thought of. So it's really fun.
Well, I can remember going over to Grandma's house after church on Sunday, and she would always have soup. And I always wondered, why always soup? I was kind of young, didn't really get it back then. But then it dawned on me one day when some unexpected guests arrived, somebody told Grandma, you better put a quart of water in the soup. We got guests we weren't expecting. I thought, I see how that works. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, Molly, you're more than an author. You have a lot of interest in, and let's spend a minute on some of your other interests. You are, among other things, an author coach.
Yes, I encourage people, new authors. I still consider myself a new author, although I've been doing it for almost a decade. So that's not really true. But I really like to come alongside authors and encourage them to how to grasp. There's a disconnect between their personal persona and their author persona. And I like to encourage people to be really authentic when they're writing, whether it's fictional characters or how they present themselves as a speaker or something, and to help them connect with other people who can help them further themselves in their career. Somebody once called me a human Lego, and that kind of stuck. I love connecting people and helping them to dig deeper, to find out what it is in them that they need to share with the world and put it into words in order for them to do so.
Well, you call yourself a coach. You're not saying you're an editor. When at what point does the author or writer intersect with you, when they're still thinking about an inspiration for a book, or they've got a book, or they've got a manuscript? How far down the path are they when they encounter you or you encounter them?
I've worked with authors who the first thing to answer that is yes. At any stage of the writing career, I have been able to assist people or encourage them, and I thrive on being the person behind the scenes to help other people achieve what they want. The very first thing I will tell anybody is take the word aspiring out of your vocabulary. I get a lot of people say, I'm an aspiring writer. Could I do this or that? Would you help me with this or that? And it's yes. The first thing is don't aspire. You either are or you aren't. And the fact that you are in this group or you're at this event, excuse me, or you've put words on paper you are already an author. The rest of the world may not have recognized it yet, but you are already an author. So don't use the word aspiring. We are not aspiring humans. We are not, we are humans, right? We are not aspiring to breathe. We breathe. It's automatic. There are things that we do. I'm not an aspiring coffee drinker. I just am really, really good at drinking coffee. So for people need to take that word aspiring out, because I think it's self-limiting. And that's the first thing that I will coach absolutely anybody on anything, whether they're writing or any craft that they want to partake in. I love, like I said, I just really like encouraging people in as many ways as I possibly can. And that's the first step. And this is Iris.
Well, I'm just so glad she got over her camera shyness, and got into the picture. So
her tail will be flicking here in a second. That's what she does best.
That cat has a very long tail. I hope you don't have any rocking chairs in your house.
No. She knows how to not get stuck.
So you coach it, but your ministry is what I would think of it more of a 360 ministry. It faces in so many directions. What do you? Well, tell us about some of the things that you do. But if you had to pick one of them and focus on that one, which one would it be?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I don't know. Well,
I honestly, I think you're right. It's kind of 360. My thing, what I love the most is encouraging people to be themselves. And that means not necessarily trying to strive to somebody else's idea of who they are. Although, yes, there's rules to be followed, whether you're a writer, whether you're, a machinist, a construction person, there are certain guides and certain rules that you need to pay attention to. But when you are fully being the person that God has designed you to be, there's nothing like that freedom that you feel when you just get it. And I think my ministry is showing people that no matter who you are or where you are still a child of God, and He still accepts you where you are. So go ahead and blossom. Don't let anything hold you back.
Well, I can say that I'm not an aspiring writer because I have no desire to be a writer, and probably no talent to do that either. But I do say this: there's a story in all of us.
Yeah.
And that story works its way out. There's a lot of ways that story, but the idea is to work that story out, and project it out that way, and let God reveal Himself through you, and then point them to His Word, the actual authority on matters. But
right.
I work with young people sometime, college age, late high school. And I think the biggest challenge that I face, and I'm going to pose it to you as sort of a question and see how you respond, is I see too many children that are living out their parents' dreams and goals. When you say find, how do you know, when you say you're wanting, aspiring, or, you're endeavoring to do something, how do you know? That is this God's plan, or is this somebody else's plan for your life, or is it your own plan for your life? But I mean, we should be trying to find God's plan for our life.
If we are truthfully and fully seeking God's plan for our life, and I don't mean that we have to drop absolutely everything and join a seminary or become nuns, and those are absolutely valid, wonderful careers. I am not built to be a nun. I'm not built to be in a church building like that. I can hear your kittens in the background, by the way. They sound adorable.
Yes, tell me where to send them. I'll bring them.
I'll take them. I think, again, as humans, we each are created to have different gifts, different talents, and one talent is not the same as another person's talent. I can do 3 things really good. I may be able to really stink at 10 others. So I should focus on those 3. And let's say of those 3, that just because I'm good at it doesn't mean that that's what God wants me to do. But if I am fully committed to praying to God to show me that this is what you want from me, he's going to open those doors. We have to have a receptive heart and a discerning heart to listen to other people, to not be stubborn-headed. I don't know why I would think that I was stubborn, but my dad might have called me that when I was younger. So to be able to say, hey, God, this is what I want. Is this what you want? And really listen for the answer. God will close the doors if it is not what he wants you to do. And it's okay to take a leap of faith, knowing that he very well may close those doors, but have a backup plan.
Well, and then there's this vexing one, and I honestly don't have the answer for this, so this is not a trick question. Okay, so you feel like, God, this is what God wants me to do, and you begin pursuing it, mm-hmm. and in the pursuit of it, an obstacle comes along. So then I say, who put that obstacle there? Satan trying to stop me from doing this? Or maybe this wasn't God's idea. Maybe this was my idea, and God's put the and those are tough calls.
Yeah. I've had moments like that. I have learned to be bold before the Lord and just say, okay, God, if this is what you want from me, then let's do it. And I would wait for a sign that wouldn't come. And so finally, one day woke up. I was in California 2 years ago, and I woke up one morning and I knew I had to move to South Carolina. So I said, okay, Lord, if this is what you want for me, we're going to do it. If not, you're going to put up these roadblocks. And within 3 days, all the doors were open. I thought I had a 5-year plan. He had a 3-month plan. And I was out here at the end of October. Since I've been here, I've had other instances where I've gone to God and said, okay, I'm going to act like you said yes. And I'm going to move forward with this thing. And immediately he puts up these roadblocks. And I know that that's a no. But I also know, I think the difference between a roadblock and Satan saying, hey, don't do this, is you can get around Satan. You can find a different avenue to get around Satan and just say, that's just a distraction. Mm-hmm. But God is definitely going to put up stop signs, roadblocks, build that brick wall. God says, you do not cross, Mm-hmm. He's Gandalf in the Hobbit. He says, you shall not pass. The enemy does not have the power to make us not pass. God does. And so if we can get around it, it was not a roadblock. It was a distraction. That's my belief.
Well put, Molly. I have tripped up many a theologian with that one, and I think you did better. I remember one time I was teaching a small group Bible study, and the Gideon's fleece. Remember that?
Yes. Okay.
Well, that was the text for the study that Sunday. And I said, folks, so that morning I came in and I said, I'm prepared. I was prepared with 2 lessons today, and I didn't know whether to go with plan A or plan B. So I told God that, 2 nights ago, that if I was to use plan A, I put a fleece out, and if it was plan A, the fleece would be wet the next morning. And it was. And I said, well, I just wanted to be sure, so I put it out the next night and said, if you want me to do plan A, make it dry. So I went out this morning to get the fleece, and it wasn't there. So that it was gone. So I struggle with, that's in the Bible, and clearly, we can communicate with God. But I just struggle with the idea of telling God, here's the deal. Tell me, I just don't feel worthy, or something.
And that is so great, Mark, because I this week have been reading the book of Exodus, which is one of my favorite Old Testament books. And I was really struck again. Consider that how the people, they were getting restless, and God was saying, I've kind of had enough of this. And Moses went to God, and Moses reminded God, hey, you said you would do this. You promised us this. You promised us that. God, you are God, and you cannot lie. Therefore, you can get all riled up about us, but we know you're going to fulfill your promises. And then God said, okay, you're right. I'm not going to leave you here. I'll keep moving you along to the promised land. Mm-hmm. We have the opportunity and the permission from God to call him out when we feel that he's not responding to us. Yeah.
I have no problem calling God, quoting God's word to him, saying, Lord, right. You said. Yeah. Yeah. It's good. Let me kind of check the time here. Oh my gosh. Quickly, you have more than one book. And
Yes.
here, we'll put this up there and let's briefly tell us as much as you can about that book in 2 minutes.
Nola is a romantic location mystery set in New Orleans. It is somewhat autobiographical with the main character, not completely, of course, but it is basically the story of this woman who is just beat down by life. So she ends up running away from home from California to ends up in New Orleans, where she meets some new people, and she cannot decide if her love interest murdered his missing wife. And she has to find out the truth, and how far does she go to find out. And basically it's not a Christian book, but it is written from my perspective, and I am a Christian, so the elements in there are a little bit of faith-based, a little bit of struggle and self-identity, and does she believe, and what does she believe, and how does she choose to believe it.
And that's available now. The link is in the chat room for all of
you.
you who are there. Folks, the chat room, if I see any more talk about spam, I'm gonna throw up.
I'm not in the chat room here. So, is it the cookbook thing? Yes, there may be one recipe about fried spam.
Fried bologna, yeah, okay. It probably not a whole lot of difference, but well, Molly, thanks for sharing with us tonight. I hope that if you want a cat, you will contact me, because tomorrow morning
Absolutely.
I need to have that cat gone. My heart goes out to. I don't like cats. I've made that clear, but I would not want any harm or suffering to come to them. And they were under the house and starving. You know, I don't know where their mom is, but
You might not like those cats, Mark, but consider that God brought them to you for a reason.
I will have a discussion with God about that, and yes, to send them to the animal. Anyway, all right.
Send them to me.
Okay, you can have little critters. They are cute when they're little. The problem is they grow up, But Molly, thanks for sharing, and we wish you so well. And I appreciate your ministry and love. Your cookbook has really struck a chord. I hope you'll visit our chat room and read all the nonsense that we've been told there. So
I will definitely check that out as soon as we're done here.
Okay, Molly.
Thank you.
All right, J.D. Winninger coming up next. I'm just glad that we can do this. Last night was kind of tough, but okay, we're running a few minutes behind. J.D., I did email you the link. I'll do it again, okay? And J.D. will be here at the bottom of the hour, and he's going to take us on a little tour around the Cross W Ranch. So we're looking forward to that. Folks, I got to leave and build everything, tear it down, build it back, and I have 2 questions before I leave I would like you to consider. The first question is, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And the second thing is, just how long ago was it? You see, the challenge that I've accepted, and I hope that you will consider, is to never be satisfied with either answer.